Hey, I'm Brock with Brock Entertainment.
And I'm Amanda with Amanda Reed Weddings.
And this is the I Do IQ podcast, where each and every week we're going to be discussing the latest in wedding and event trends.
And we're going to let you know all the things that you need to know in order to make your event the most special.
Yeah, and in the end, you will have the best wedding and event experience ever.
And something tells me we're going to have a little fun along the way.
I don't know about that. I'm a pretty serious guy,
Yeah,
Amanda.
you kind of are.
And this is a serious topic, so only seriousness.
Serious business.
This is the I Do IQ podcast. Let's begin. I am Brock.
And I'm Amanda.
And it's the I Do IQ podcast. Amanda, how you doing this
good.
this fine day?
This fine day.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I'm
Doing fine on this fine day.
On this fine day. Yeah.
So we have decided, because we loved having Mike on a few weeks ago so much, that we want to do every episode with a drink.
You decided.
Just so we can taste new drinks and discuss them, and it just makes us feel a little bit loose. Do we have a problem? Maybe. I don't know.
Who knows? It remains to be seen.
Today, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, and I brought in the wrong kind.
Yeah, you did.
But today we're going to do Screwball, and that's the peanut butter whiskey of choice for me.
Right.
So this is a little bit more expensive than the other Screwball I brought in. That was
not so much.
And then I found another one called Sheepdog that is about $10 cheaper, and it was pretty good.
Okay.
Not as smooth as this, though.
Okay.
So you weren't a huge fan of the last one.
It was all right. It kind of had more of a butterscotchy flavor. And I wasn't terrible. It's just whiskey's not my bourbon whiskey.
Forte?
Yeah, it's not my thing.
So it wasn't mine either until I tried this.
Yeah.
And then I became a man. It's strong.
I think I'm about to become a
So
man also.
I want you to go first and give us your opinion.
All right. Well, I just had gum also, so how's it go with mint? Pretty well.
Peanut butter and mint.
Peanut butter and mint.
Mint sandwiches.
New flavor.
You know?
We'll see. All right.
Go for
Do I
it.
have to shoot it?
No, you sip it. It's a sipping whiskey, yeah. And it looks cool when you do it. Just let it settle in that mouth. What do you think?
I don't know.
It's better. It's a lot more
Better than the other
smooth.
stuff. It is.
You just don't love
I do get peanut butter.
There you go. It hits on the back end.
It does.
Yeah?
Still is.
You're going to get wasted. Here we go.
I am. Whiskey's going to, yeah. Is it whiskey or is it bourbon?
No, that's whiskey.
That's whiskey.
Contains peanuts. You're not allergic to peanuts, are you?
Uh-oh. No, just kidding.
Yeah, it's Screwball peanut butter whiskey to the Misfits, Black Sheep, and Screwballs. I like it. 70 proof. Alcohol by volume, 35%.
It's all right. Yeah.
Cooler bottle, for sure.
Cool bottle.
So this would be a good groomsman gift.
It would be.
I think.
I think it's a cute bottle.
You know what? This is a Miles drink right here.
It's definitely a
Where you
Miles
see
drink.
him holding it, taking a picture or a selfie. You know, what's the whiskey that he actually
What is it? He
does?
likes Macallan.
Yeah. Like he's like, this is expensive stuff, and I taste them like, you can have it, because I don't want none of that.
It's never
Like,
been
I'm not a whiskey guy, except for Screwball. Love Screwball. All right. So today's topic, we thought, you know what? I get this question asked, and I am very opinionated on this question. Kids at a wedding.
Yeah.
Kids at a wedding. As a wedding planner, are you getting asked this question a lot?
I get it asked a lot. I get asked that a whole lot. And I can't be as opinionated because, I mean, sometimes kids are part of it. And I don't get to say, no, you can't have kids. But you feel strongly you don't think you should have kids there? Okay, here's how we can sidestep that. Or you do have kids. Well, here's some things we can maybe do to like keep them entertained. So I've got some horror stories about kids, and I don't know.
Well, I want to hear them.
You talk first. Let's hear your opinions about kids.
I'll start off with my own wedding. So being a DJ, I have seen kids at weddings, and they tend to ruin the dance flow from time to time. If they're little kids and they run out on the dance floor first, then the adults will just stand around and watch them.
Of course.
And as a DJ, I'm like,
adorable. It's precious. Yeah. We all
get them
think
off the dance floor. Get them off the dance floor.
Yeah.
So at my wedding, this was almost 10 years ago, I decided I do not want kids at my wedding.
Yeah.
And because of this, we're going to put that in the invitation. No kids. Do not bring kids, adults only. We didn't have any alcohol at the wedding, so that wasn't an issue. It wasn't because it was going to be a crazy party.
I just didn't want kids.
Yeah. You know, I didn't have any nieces or nephews. You know, I wasn't surrounded by kids. But I always felt like if you do have a kid, why would you want to bring him to a wedding?
It's nice to have a date night once in a while. It's nice to have like in a way. So I think it starts with the invitation though. So like and a lot of people don't know and or follow this protocol. If they're not listed on the invitation, they're not invited.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So if it's a +1, it doesn't mean plus your spouse and your 5 kids.
No, it means no. And so typically, like if they know you well enough to invite you to their wedding, they know the +1 is it's not your wife. Like they know your wife's name. It's your significant other, or
right.
So, and a lot of people don't even invite a +1. Like maybe wedding party doesn't even get a +1 sometimes. But yeah, the kids, if they are not listed, if they're little Jack and little Susie are not listed on the invitation, they're not invited. PSA: if your kid's not listed on the invitation, they're not invited.
Yeah.
But everybody.
Well, that's good to know because I really did not know that.
Well, but a lot of people are like, oh, but they don't mean my kids. But they love my kids.
Here, let me preface this. I'm never invited to weddings.
No, I'm not either.
Because I tell my friends, I'm not going to your wedding unless you hire me.
You got to pay me to
because I'm going to be at another wedding that is paying me to be there. So even my brothers, I'm like,
yeah, sorry.
If I'm DJing your wedding, I'll come. But if I'm not,
stop it. That's so funny. No, I mean that's you've got to go back to that very first piece with the invitations. And if you're working with a stationer that does this all the time, I know that. But if you're going online and ordering, which that's a big trend, people are ordering invitations online a lot. There's not a person sitting there telling you this is not appropriate. Like you need to not, tell them that the children are not invited. People don't know that
we just put, I think at the bottom, adults only.
Yeah. No
children, please, or something like that.
I've had a lot of people where we'll add like an adult only affair to the bottom of the invitation. They still think doesn't mean my kids.
No,
they don't mean my kids.
It does mean your kids.
They don't. They love my kids.
No.
They don't. Yeah.
Not at the wedding. And another thing that I didn't like, and the reason we didn't want kids is inevitably at a ceremony, in the middle of the vows, you hear all these kid noises. It's like I hired a videographer, expensive, and I don't want my video and my memory to be like, do you love this person? Say I do. And I didn't want that.
They can't edit that out.
No. I'm like, so the only kids we had at our wedding, we had 2 kids.
Yeah.
We had Kim's niece. I think her and the other girl were both 3. Kim's niece, because her brother and sister were in the wedding. So she was going to be there.
Right.
So her, and then my other friend who was also in the wedding, his 3-year-old niece.
Okay.
And so those 2 girls were in the wedding. As soon as they walked up, they were taken back. And
I'm all about that.
At the reception, they stayed with their parents the whole time.
I've had several situations. I mean, it's cute sometimes when like the ring bearer walks down the middle of the aisle and just sits down. I mean, like things like that happen and it's cute and it's like, oh, that's a cute picture. Or the flower girl comes up and like is throwing flowers in people's like. There's some cute stuff.
Well, my daughter was in Blake's wedding.
Yeah,
and it was at the Ravington. And she got stage fright, and about a fourth of the way down the aisle, she just stopped. And, my brother, he didn't care. It wasn't a big deal.
Right.
So I ran down there because I'm a groomsman standing up there. I ran down there, said, come on, and picked her up, took her, and then set her down with her mom.
Right.
But
she was 4.
How old was she? That was 4 years ago?
Yeah.
She was like 3. I think she was 3. But she just got stage fright.
I mean, I had one ceremony one time where the flower girl was supposed to go right before the bride, as usual. And I mean, she was just like,
yeah, and that happens a lot.
I'm not going to do it. And her dad was still going, no, go on. And I was like,
no, it doesn't matter.
The musician has no idea that this is going on. She has to go. And I was like, she can't go. So, I mean, and I'd already talked to the bride about that. I was like, if, for some reason we try to make a plan with the bride prior, especially if we know there's kids in it, they might act out. They might be a little just unruly. You don't know what a kid's going to do. And so we definitely try to like have that conversation beforehand. What do you want me to do? Sometimes moms are not very happy about it, but I'm like, I'm sorry, it's not about you. It's about that bride. At that moment, it's about getting that beautiful girl down the aisle in the white dress. I don't want that. I mean, I don't want that to be ruined for the little girl either, or whoever the child is. But like, there was one, I just was like, get rid of her. Like, she's got to go. She's got to go.
So my idea was always to hire little people, actors, to dress up in the same, because they're not going to cry. No. They're going to do the job and do it amazing.
They're hired.
The best wedding I went to was for one of my DJs, and he had it at the Fayetteville Airport area.
Drakefield,
Drakefield. And his best friend and his wife's best friend dressed up as little kids. and walked down the aisle.
Stop it.
It was, his best friend dressed up in like a pilot's uniform, and the girl dressed up in like a flower girl dress. So they're all walking down the aisle, but they're adults.
Yeah.
That made it hilarious, and they had no kids at the wedding. They're like, they were in lieu of the kids. So.
That's awesome. I've had flower grands before, grandmothers.
Oh, that's cool.
It was really cute.
I like that.
It was adorable.
And that's a unique idea.
Oh my gosh, I will never forget that.
That people will be like, now that is awesome. And grandma's not going to mess it up.
No, grandma's not
unless she trips, falls, and hurts her hip. I've fallen and I can't get up.
You were so bad. No, that was a sweet moment though. It really was. And I was like, that's cute. I've only had one bride go with that idea once, but I was like, I loved it. So I've had grandmothers act as like hostesses before and kind of do things like that, but never the flower grand.
So do you know where the flower girl ring bearer, that tradition came from?
So flower girls, actually, that's kind of interesting that you ask. I've just done a little research.
Oh, you know that.
I just happen to know the answer to this, sort of. There's this folklore.
Yeah.
They say that it like flowers are, prosperity and children, like it's like bringing good luck to the children. So they sprinkle the flowers for the bride and groom for prosperity and for children. So that's what that story is about. And I think children doing it is probably like,
But it doesn't have to be a kid.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it could be your grandmother.
Oh.
Which is cute. And then like ring bearers, I mean, like that's, obviously just giving of the ring, but typically as a little boy, I don't know what, like page boys that kind of start as a page boy.
Well, and
carry the dress train and the ring.
And now the boy usually doesn't even carry it at all.
I don't like letting the 3-year-old
groomsman
boy carry
has
the ring.
it.
Yeah. They'll carry a little pillow or a little box sometimes.
And it doesn't have anything in it.
Yeah. I don't feel like it's probably wise to put an expensive ring in the hands of a 3-year-old.
No.
Just me.
This is now time for a break from Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. This episode's brought to you by that.
Not yet. It's brought to you by you.
Because if you bring a kid to the wedding, you're going to need a lot of Screwball.
It's true.
So you get asked by brides this a lot. And what's your response to them?
Most brides have a strong opinion one way or the other. They're like, nope, I've got my niece and nephew. I love these kids. They've got to be there. I want everybody. Or they're like, yeah, like you. No, I don't want kids there. They're very, the challenge is then just to, how do we handle it? What are we going to do about it? Because I have to be kind of Switzerland. Like I have to just be like, okay, you want kids there? Cool. No kids? Okay, cool. I did have one little boy one time. I'd forgotten about this. During the ceremony, it was a ceremony where like half the venue was divided and like there was a drape between the spaces, and he was getting a little antsy. And I guess he must have been a ring bearer because he was in a cute little suit. He must have like after he did his job, he came behind the curtain, and he was supposed to sit with me during the ceremony behind the curtain. And I was like, well, I have other things to be doing, but that's cool. So we had all the candy for the candy buffet later underneath the buffet table. And I was like, hey, come here. And I let him go. And I let him go to town in the candy buffet.
Yeah.
So he probably was like,
Yeah, I just still don't understand as a parent why you would want to take your kid. I don't remember taking Brimley to any wedding.
No, I had one situation where my husband couldn't go, and I took my daughter as my +1.
How old was she though?
5 maybe.
Okay.
And we just kind of hung out. But it was like I wasn't taking her as like she was by my side the whole night. We hung out together. It was just kind of a little girls' night. And and that was one I knew that my kid was invited. My children were invited to that wedding. I had RSVP'd for my husband, but he couldn't go. And so I just took my daughter and we went and had a little girls' night, and she danced. And we had a fun time. We were together. I didn't just like let her run wild. That's the thing to me. A lot of times the kids are unattended and they're getting into stuff. There's all kinds of things that could go wrong, and you just don't need kids like climbing into.
So if you do choose to have kids at your wedding, which most people do, what are some things that you could have those kids to keep their attention so they're not running around, they're not running on the dance floor? You get those kids that during the first dance, they're running out there in the middle of the pictures and the video, and you're like, come on, parent, come on, grab your kid. This is a very important moment for this couple. And they don't want to see your kid running on the dance floor, standing right next to the bride, like pulling on her dress, which has happened it drives me nuts. And it's not even my wedding,
I've had, a lot of times we'll do like babysitting services and things like that. So even if the kids are there, but they're able to go to a different area in the venue, they've just got somebody there to kind of keep track of them.
Is there a company that you can hire?
No, but
That's a business.
That's a great idea for businesses. Same with pets. Honestly, I run into that with people, and I know this is not the topic right
really
now.
Bringing pets?
Well, not bringing their pets, but like if they're like cute dogs or the ring bearer and flower girl, like their dogs are in it. Well, what do you do with the dog after? Is he going to trot around? So you have to hire somebody or ask a friend who was not invited to your wedding, but you care enough about them, you like them well enough to come pick up your dog, right? Super awkward.
Like, I guess.
I like you, but like only well enough to hang out with my dog.
But if you give them a bottle of Screwball, then they will be happy. All right.
Right. So anyway, but yeah, so you hire somebody. And so, I mean, we've hired babysitters often, like had a separate room or back at the hotel.
So what do you do at some venues, say like the Ravington?
Yeah.
Or a lot of these venues in this area don't have separate areas that you can just, this is for the kids. It's not like a hotel where you could rent out a whole nother room.
Right. There are venues who actually prefer no children anyway. They ask that you don't bring kids. Ravington's
Oh, wait, I just had a great idea.
What's your idea?
A mobile babysitting unit.
It's smart. It's
like it'd be like a big bus.
Yeah.
And inside there's video games, there's things for kids to play with.
A mobile video game.
Yeah, but this is for babysitting.
That's actually a great idea.
So like different areas for different ages.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Oh my gosh, what are we calling it?
I don't know. We'll think
Screwball.
No,
We're
that's
calling
a terrible name.
Screwball.
That's a terrible name for a babysitting service.
I'm just starting this process of the idea.
That's a good idea. I mean, it really is. I think it's something that could actually be a great idea.
We would have to invest in a big vehicle and then retrofit it for.
And it'd have to be bigger than like a FedEx truck. Like it would need to be like big enough, because how can you? I mean, that's not very many kids.
It would have to be. I don't know. Like I don't know. This is a development process, but you'd have to be. I don't know what kind of insurance you would need for that with the kids.
Yeah,
they would have to. Well, it's like going to IKEA and dropping your kids off right when you walk in.
True.
At the playground area.
True.
Except a little bit smaller. I don't know how that would work, but you could have food for them and everything.
I like it. And I do. I mean, I like situations like that where you can just give your kids something fun to do. They don't want to sit there any more than you do.
Yeah.
New babies, and I think about the loud sounds.
I don't think bringing a newborn to a wedding is, well, it's my friend and I really wanted to be at a wedding. I get it. Watch the video afterwards.
Yeah,
I mean,
or you come for a little while. And people do all kinds of things and for lots of different reasons. So I don't want to, I'm Switzerland. I still am. But I personally have a date night. Enjoy, even if it's a short evening, but don't try not to bring your kids.
Well, and one instance where kids might be welcome is if that person getting married as a teacher.
Sure.
And we invited our whole class. We want the class there. I get that.
That happens.
It's all circumstantial, but in general, as a kid, I didn't like going to weddings.
No.
Why, Mom, why do we got to go to this wedding?
Ugh, I don't want to do this. I'm dressed up. I got to wear this suit.
Yeah. And when I was a kid, there was no dancing. So it was always done at my dad's church. You would go from there to either downstairs before we had an extra area to do cake cutting and cakes. You cut the cake, not cakes, and presents. Right. You cut the cake and they do the toasting thing with the punch, and then they open presents in front of you.
What?
You never been to one of those?
No.
That's all it was when I was a kid.
Oh, that's painful.
Opening up presents in front of all your guests.
I've never seen that before.
We used to do baby showers like that too at the church.
Showers,
but they would open up their gifts in front of everyone. And you're like, who's that from? That's from them. Thanks.
I got his towels.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds
so painful. Many towels. So I didn't even go to a wedding that was
like a normal
like we know them today with dancing until college.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very
I'm like, what? This is what a wedding is supposed to be like?
A whole different ballgame.
Are you kidding me? There's a DJ and there's a dancing portion? What?
Oh my gosh.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I never heard of that.
It was always at the church.
Yeah.
And then the cake cut. And there was not even any food. There wasn't like they brought a meal in. It was cake and punch. Every time.
I definitely went to my share of cake and punch weddings every day, and mints and nuts.
Yep. And then bird seed as they go out.
Yes.
Yep.
That for sure, but I've never seen the gift opening during the reception. Wow, that's painful.
Oh my gosh, so much gift opening.
That does not sound.
It was so boring.
Yeah, that's boring.
So boring.
If you're not being fed, all you have is mints to sustain you. That does not.
Like you get married up here. All right, let's go to the reception area, which is in the basement.
Wow.
And let's do this.
Yeah, never.
It was bad.
There's a book that I've read actually, and we're totally off topic, but I love it. There's a book that I've read, and I wish they put out a new edition of it, but it's about like the building of the wedding industry, like how it has changed so dramatically.
So much.
It is unbelievable. And it's a multi-billion dollar industry.
I made $2 billion myself last year.
I know. But it's just fascinating how things have changed from that to what we now have.
So if you do have kids, some of the options you can...
I think having activities for them, I think things for them to do.
What are some good activities?
Honestly, like little presents that like they can open at their table, whether you have a kid's table or not, but at least a little gift bag for each kid that's like full of things that they'll find entertaining and food that they're going to eat. Most kids don't want a steak. And why would you want to waste the money on that?
You can pay, say, for instance, $10 for the chicken finger meal.
Right.
Or $20 for the steak.
Right. I have chef shuttled Chick-fil-A to weddings many times.
Why not?
That's what they want.
Yeah.
They'd much rather have that. And even in certain venues that maybe provide their own food, but a lot of times they're like, we don't want to make another chicken nugget meal.
No.
So we're completely good. Yes, you can bring in Chick-fil-A or McDonald's or whatever.
Right.
They're fine with that, which is surprising. But they're just like, we'd much rather focus on the $90 a head dinner that we're going to be providing than that.
Yeah.
So having food that they'll actually eat, having snacks like goldfish and, juice boxes and the kind of stuff that kids actually like. Ask somebody with kids. If you don't have kids, ask people with kids.
Just get a lot of sugar. That's all that matters. If you don't have kids, just get some sugar and throw it on the table. Sugar cubes. Throw them on the table. Say, kids, have at it. Have at it.
But little like coloring books and like little like some kids like are super into like the little Lego packs, or there's like my son used to be really into these blind bags. And where you don't know, I'm sure Brimley has had these too, but Sutton loved these little, what were they? Oh my gosh, what were they called?
I know what you should put in those bags. You give them gummies, but melatonin gummies. So they're like,
great idea.
They're popping these gummies. The next thing you know,
they're on the floor.
They're all asleep.
That's so funny. Imaginext. They're Imaginext figures, like the little bags, like those little things and those little characters and stuff they could play with like the entire time, and they make them for girls. I would honestly, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
It's just lots of little things that, they're not going to be crushed if they forget at the end of the
night.
With
a note that says, you shouldn't be here.
You're horrible.
What, Mom, what does this note say?
What does this mean?
You shouldn't be. Oh. They said no kids, but we didn't think you.
We didn't mean you.
Like, we thought they liked you. It's not that we don't like you. It's that we just didn't want you here.
We just don't want to hang out with you.
Not tonight. Not on this special night.
I really am, though. I mean, I'm like, the biggest, my takeaway for today is like, if your kid is not listed on the invitation, and if your aunt is not listed on the invitation, and if your cousin is not, like.
You can't just bring whoever you want.
Yes. Yeah. And if you don't get a +1, if it's not listed on there, they're not invited.
Yeah.
Know that for the couple that you're. And don't call them and ask, because they're going to say yes because they don't want to hurt your feelings.
Just no.
Just know that if it says Brock Short, it's only Brock Short that's invited. If it's Brock Short +1 and guest, yes, bring a guest.
Okay.
And that you're fair game, unless it says no children.
No children.
Then don't bring Brim.
Yeah, I never would think to bring her. I'm not dumb.
All right, so tell me, do you have a horror story of a kid at a wedding? Have you had some terrible things?
I'm sure there's been some at the weddings I've been at.
Yeah.
It's just annoying stuff.
Sure.
That the kid's pulling on the dress or, just not paying attention, running around screaming, annoying stuff. But one of my DJs one time told me this story. He's like, oh my gosh, you're never going to believe what happened at my wedding.
Oh gosh.
One of the kids, it might have been the ring bearer or one of the kids, during the dancing, he cleared the dance floor and he was acting crazy the whole time. Ended up pulling down his pants. He's little. Took a whiz right on the dance floor. He's like, everyone. He didn't care.
Oh my word.
He might have been 4 or 5. He didn't give 2 craps. He didn't care.
Nobody.
He didn't take a dump on the dance floor.
At least that didn't happen. But still, let's look at the bright side.
But his dad was over in the corner drinking some screwball.
Oh my. I did have one. I couldn't think earlier of a story, but I do remember having a wedding. It was in a very high-end venue. The kids are allowed, but I mean, I just wouldn't take my kids and certainly would not leave them unattended in this place. And there were probably 10 or 12 children at this wedding who if I recall, they'd said an adult-only affair on the invitation, and people still brought
because all
the family.
People don't care or respect anything.
You're drunk. Just stop.
I just want to tell you, Amanda, you're beautiful. I think I love you. You're so beautiful.
See? Okay, proof right there. He proposed to me like, is that 5 times?
I just want to say,
stop it.
So cool. I'm jealous.
Anyway, so no, like they brought probably, I think there were probably 10 kids. I don't know, a lot of children. And they'd gone down this section of this venue, which, it was a museum.
Okay.
Let's be honest. It was a museum. And they had like drawn all over all this, like
not
on like art or anything like that,
but
like it was something like they had like where you're supposed to create your own art, but the family was like, yeah, you're supposed to be in there, just go ahead and do whatever. And so they were like, they'd made a giant mess, and of course my team had to go in and clean it up, and there was like crayon on the paper, and I was just like, oh, that's not okay.
No, I have done, it just reminds me of kids in general. I did a ceremony at this venue, and it was a barn area, and they had a second floor, and the parents took this family took their kids up to the second floor, and all you could hear was the kids running around
back and forth
the whole ceremony. And everybody's looking at me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
Oh my gosh.
Like, is this happening? And it wasn't quiet. It was like really loud.
Oh, that's so bad.
And I think at some of those weddings, I'll go up and I'll be like, you gotta be quiet. You weren't
in a place where you could do that.
No, I was stuck. Like, well, it is what it is.
I've had to shush the wedding party a few times. Like, they can hear you.
Yeah.
But I've never had kids run around like that.
Oh my gosh. I just went over there, took off my belt, started spanking.
I love kids. I have kids. Yeah. I love kids. I really do. And they're cute. They're funny. Even the things that people think aren't funny sometimes. Right. I'm like, they're kids. It's fine. I don't know.
But kids at a wedding, our opinions, these are just our opinions on today's episode. Yeah. We don't love it. Yep. And we do this I don't
love it for the bride and groom.
No,
and for their family.
For the whole experience.
Yeah. Well, and for, even for the grandparents of maybe the bride is the sister, maybe she's got nieces and nephews that are all up in grandmother's lap the whole time, and she can't enjoy it. She can't enjoy it.
And it's different if you're married.
Yeah.
You're getting married and you already have kids, and of course your kids should be there.
Of course.
But in general, I'm just not a huge fan of it.
Unless you were explicitly invited,
yep.
I say,
boom, we just solved the world's problems.
We can do it.
Another amazing episode of I Do IQ. Let's do a toast with Screwball.
To children.
Next week, it won't be Screwball. It'll be something else. I'll let you pick next week's, okay?
Thank you.
To kids.
To kids at weddings. Cheers.
Thanks so much for listening, and make sure to subscribe and expect a new exciting episode each and every week. Please follow us on social as well at I Do IQ Podcast. If you have a guest recommendation or a topic you would like to hear discussed on the podcast, please let us know. The I Do IQ Podcast is recorded at the most amazing studio in Northwest Arkansas and by the most amazing and best looking people in all the world, Go Rogue X. You can follow them on social as well at Go Rogue X, or visit them online at GoRogueX.com. They truly are amazing, and if you're looking to start a podcast, they are your go-to people. Also, a big shout out to our creative people, David Kinney from Forward, all the way from the great state of Michigan. You can check his website out, theforwardcreative.com, for all your logo and design needs. And for more information on Brock and Amanda, please visit djbrockentertainment.com and amandareedweddings.com. Thank you again, and we'll see you on the next episode.